Hi, welcome back to AlextheRed&More. So this video will be looking further at the different options for managers after Jurgen Klopp leaves at the end of this season and how we sort of need something in place before our final game at some point towards the end of May, I reckon. And so let's get into it. So we'll obviously have the obvious front runner and main favourite for the job, Xabi Alonso, and he's going to be my favourite and the one I most want to take over, mainly because he'd be the most similar in terms of like style and how he'd play compared to Klopp, because he is very much has heavy history of Liverpool and knows the city and club very well, and even in the FSG I think he would work quite well with them and would know how to like continue the work from where Klopp will leave it at the end of the season. You could say 2 years at Dortmund he may need to, 2 years at Leverkusen only though, so he could say if you had one more third year at Leverkusen then you could definitely say it's ready, but every manager after Klopp at the moment is a risk, and I'd definitely say there's more positives over negatives with regards to Xabi Alonso coming to Liverpool, and this is a job I think he'd definitely strive well in, and considering how he wants to continue Klopp's work, and that could even potentially be hopefully a sort of similar situation to where Paisley took over from Shankly all those years ago, and won even more. I'm not saying that's happening, but who knows. And what else about him? Well, let's actually just move on for time being. Another manager with a lot of experience, mainly at Real Madrid, who was at Real Madrid, was Zinedine Zidane, and I can definitely understand why some people may want him because of all the Champions Leagues he won with Real Madrid, like in 2016 to 2018, I think. But my issue is, for the time being, he's been out of work for 3 years, so he left Real Madrid back in 2021, and also that I understand that he actually can't speak English at all at the moment, so that could be a bit of a potential issue with the Liverpool squad, and also may take a while to get back into like the flow of like managing a football team again, because even though he's so great, 3 years out of any line of work is going to be a massive challenge to take over from the huge job Klopp will leave whoever takes over from him. So that's why I'd still heavily prefer Alonso to someone like Zidane. And now I'm going to be sort of like comparing two different sets of managers for this tour of the three candidates that have been mentioned, either in the mainstream or on more or less than YouTube channels. So we'll first look at managers in some managers in like the lower section Premier League, just outside the usual top 4 or closer to mid-table. So we understand that Roberto De Zerbi is the second fate for it in all the betting and all you see on Sky, but I'm actually very heavily against De Zerbi coming to Anfield to replace Klopp. Well, his style of play at Brighton is very, very good, but the only reason I think they are doing so well is mainly because of Brighton's great infrastructure with selling on their stars and always bringing in new ones, so he sort of just fits into their infrastructure very well, and that is the main reason why they've progressed so well these last couple of seasons. And also I think it's just going to be the similar vibes to what happened when Graham Potter left Brighton to go Chelsea, and look where Chelsea are now. We do not want that happening at Liverpool, no way. But a manager I would prefer for De Zerbi a bit low down is actually I won't say want him to replace Klopp, but I'll definitely pick him over De Zerbi, and that's Thomas Frank. But Thomas Frank, even though he doesn't like have the CV for like this sort of job, I think he's definitely got his personality is definitely right up there and has his own principles in terms of being principles, so definitely in terms of like being adaptable to certain games and applying them, and he's a very well respected coach at Brentford, and players all want to play for him to their high spirit, and he's got so much out of the squad since getting them promoted to the Premier League, and even though they're not doing quite so well, this season, they could still have a good run towards the end. And I know when we go to Brentford, that will be one tricky game still. So that's sort of why I'd prefer Thomas Frank over Roberto De Zerbi if it ever came down to that. Then, somewhere I've heard, we know that Andrew Postecoglou is a Liverpool fan, but I still think he needs to prove more of his time at Tottenham to sit and see where he can take them in terms of being in the table, because he's very so attack-minded that huge gaps in defence may be a bit too much for war for me. But on the flip side of the opposite, a manager I would prefer for me is actually Unai Emery. I remember listening to a clip of this on the Red Med TV podcast, and I was sort of thinking, well, outside of Xabi Alonso, this could actually be a potential thing if he suddenly didn't become available. And even though it's a definitely opposite style of play to what Klopp's implemented, I think my main reason I would mind Emery at some point as a Liverpool manager is because of his massive pedigree in Europe. Even though he's not won the Champions League, he's won 4 Europa Leagues now, 3 with Seville and 1 with Villarreal. So he always, and even got Villarreal to the Champions League semi-final before us Liverpool knocked them out. And you know what Liverpool are like with, they always love a great Champions League or Europa League win in Europe. Liverpool always strive to go close to winning it whenever they can when they're back in Europe. And so with it, and Emery likes that too, so that thing could actually work well. But for now, I'd say that Emery is sort of like the manager you'd go for if Klopp's first successor doesn't quite work out. But you never know. And now, okay, so 2 managers are outside the Premier League now want to compare, and the actual 2 I don't really want at all Liverpool are Thomas Tuchel and Julian Nagelsmann. So Thomas Tuchel overall I would prefer as Liverpool manager than Nagelsmann, but if you've seen in the past, he's always took over from Klopp, first at Mainz and then at Dortmund, and he's never been able to hit nowhere near the heights Klopp took both Mainz and Dortmund in terms of their progression, especially at Dortmund. Klopp got them 1 and 2 leagues and got them to Champions League final. Tuchel didn't spend any much time nowhere long near as Klopp there and didn't achieve anywhere close to what Klopp did there. So that's sort of the reason why. And even now, he was lucky to win the Bundesliga last season with Bayern Munich if Borussia Dortmund didn't bottle it on the final day because it was off their hands at the time. So that is sort of why. And if Xabi Alonso was to beat Tuchel to the Bundesliga this season, I think it'd be undebatable that Xabi Alonso has to be Liverpool manager come next season, especially if he wins the Bundesliga for them this season. And now Julian Nagelsmann is one he's in the same category as Serbia. It's one I do not really want as Liverpool manager, mainly because it's a big red flag that he started becoming a manager at only 29, and 29 is only when you normally just pass your peak as a player. But even then, you could still have at least 5 years ahead of yourself before you retire. So that is a big red flag starting off so young. And even though his football has been such an exciting play style, I just think he's massively overrated and even a bit of a fraud. And I cannot see him doing well in Germany at Euro 2024. I just can't see him changing around their fortunes. It's just sort of written already that they're going to immediately fail in Euro 24, and if that does smash into Nagelsmann, then he's never going to get a top job again. So that for me is a heavy no. And finally, one more I've heard some of the other one I've heard of is Amorim, I think, from Sporting Lisbon. I understand they're doing quite well so far. I think they're in the Portuguese top race, and I think he may have won them on Portuguese League 2 or 3 seasons ago, maybe. But I know I've heard him linked somewhere, but for me, I'd still say no, because it's just the lack of top level like Klopp had at Dortmund, and so, but that was much more of achievement before Klopp came to Liverpool. So I'm really hard to say no for now. And one more thing I've heard somewhere is Hansi Flick, but I think he may end up going. He could potentially be a Ten Hag replacement if he gets sacked at Man U, and I think he's probably more suited to them for the time being. And he's mainly his longest, I think, has been a Germany manager when they sort of like won the World Cup. I think you never know. It could still be an option for Liverpool if other candidates don't feel they're quite ready for it. But Xabi Alonso is still quite clear the favourite for me. And as I said before, if he definitely wins the Bundesliga for Bayern Leverkusen this season, then it'd have to be 100% from me for Liverpool getting him, as Bayern Munich and Real Madrid may easily want him sooner than you think as their next manager. So it's better to get him early now if it's been experienced before waiting before it's too late, and he's already doing a good job at those rival clubs for Liverpool. So yeah, so this weekend coming, Leverkusen play Bayern Munich, so that'll give us a big indication after tomorrow as to how likely Bayern Leverkusen can win the Bundesliga. So let's hope they win, as we need to see proof that Alonso can do it in the big matches like Klopp has done in the past. But anyways, I'm out.